Here we have the inside of the Caravelair Allegra Home 560. If we firstly come to the main control panel just here, we can turn it on. You will see that turning this control panel on and off does not affect the lights. They all need to be individually turned on or off on their own switches. You will also see that this is now letting us know that we have main supply connected and that we are using the leisure battery. If we now press this one, this will just let us know how much water is in the onboard fresh tank. Above that, this button will give us an indication of the voltage of the leisure battery. Then we have internal temperature and external temperature. Water pump on and off just here. This needs to be on if you are using the onboard water tank. It needs to be off if you are using the hose pipe that fits directly underneath the caravan. This one here is the awning light. And then lastly, these two both need to be on when you are using the Truma control panel for your heating and your hot water. If they are not on, you will get an error code appear when using the system on main supply. To use this control panel, we use the big black button in the center. If I now press this, it will illuminate, and as I rotate it, you will see the icons begin to flash. If we start with the first icon just here, this is for your heating. If I now begin to rotate it, we can pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the caravan, right the way up to a rather toasty 30 degrees. Click to store it in, and you'll now see a little flame has appeared above. That little flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, that flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked it. After that, we then have hot water, and again, if I now click, hot water is off, and if I rotate, we can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. We can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want a longer shower. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off as it needs to rob the power to be able to do it. After heating and hot water, we then have power source. So at the moment we are running our mains supply using 2 kilowatts. If I rotate, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt if we're on a low amp site to try and prevent ourselves from tripping. We can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts or 1 kilowatt. This is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only use gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we do not have any main supply, we can solely run on gas. After power source selection, we then have circulation fan for the heating system. So currently the fan's in eco mode. We can turn it up to high if required. If I now rotate again, we will drop to the lower icons. This first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click on it, you'll see we can pick a start time and then an end time. And then once we've done that, we can literally pick what we would like on in that time period. Timer on or off. If I now activate the timer, now within that time period those settings would apply. If I now return to it, I can turn the timer back off again, and when we go back to it, we can alter it again. If you're going to be using the timer, it helps if the clock's correct, and that's all this one here does. And then lastly, next to the symbol that's letting you know that you have main supply connected, we have the settings menu, and within that we have offset just for the thermostat just down here, so if you don't think it's quite correct you can just tweak it slightly. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language, index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, factory reset. These control panels will throw up error codes from time to time. They will usually be basic stuff. So if I now turn off these just here, because I've turned them off, it should now throw an error code up. There we go. And if I now turn them back on again, the error code will eventually disappear. There we go. So 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, the error will just disappear. If you are having problems clearing down an error code, I always do suggest, if you've still got stuff running like I have up the top here, that you just turn them all off, because the system can think quicker when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If you've done that and you've still got the error code, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again, and that's just hold the button in just here. And if you still have no luck, then do the factory reset. If we now come to the lounge area and remove the cushions, we now have the location of the leisure battery just here. We can also see that onboard water tank. Also underneath here we have the location for the main strip switches. So if something's not working on main supply, just come in here to see whether or not you've tripped. We then have the battery charger just here, and if we remove this part, we also have the 12 volt fuses just here. So again, if something's not working on 12 volt, just come in here to see whether or not a fuse is blown. If we then remove the front cushions, we can then find the location of the boiler itself. You will also see the water pump just sits here. And then we have the drain valves for the boiler. So to drain the boiler for winterization, you will see that we have a drain valve just here. So we just need to flap this up. And then we also have the main boiler drain valve, which is just here where this little blue diamond is. These are automatic, so if the temperature in here drops below 3-4 degrees, this valve will automatically open up and drop the majority of the water out to avoid frost damage. If you are going to manually drain it, you need to just twist that blue diamond just there. So we're twisting this, and then a blue button will pop out at the base of the unit, and it will then drain down. To refill it, twist the blue diamond back into the position that it's in at the moment, and then push the blue button back in, and it will reset. If it auto drops, all that will happen is the blue button will pop out at the bottom, and you just need to push it back in to reset it. To drain down fresh onboard tank, you do need to go outside the van. And if we come back round to where we have the hose that plugs in when we're direct to water. And then if we just move slightly along and we look up just here, you'll see this little bung here. We pull the bung off the end and this will drain the fresh water tank down. If we now go back inside, we have the hob. The hob does not have its own igniter, so you will need to get one of these. It is then just a matter of push in, twist, and then ignite. You see, I need both hands for this. Hold on 1 second. There we are. Beneath the hob we have the oven and grill. This does have its own igniter, so it's push in, twist, and then press. It's then push in and the opposite way for the grill. Above the hob we have the extractor, light on and off just here. We then have fan on and then fan speed plus and minus. And then back to off again. If we need to set the time, just hold the button in. And then you can then adjust on the plus and the minus. Next to this we have the television bracket. To pull it out, just here. And this can also be rotated around so you can watch the television in the bedroom area as well. You'll see aerial fly lead in just here and main socket. We then have the fridge freezer, on and off just here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're hooked up to main supply at the moment, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug just here. If I now went outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as you hitch up and start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain. We can take it out of auto if we need to, so we can manually put it onto mains, manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the minute because we're not hitched up to a tow vehicle, and I can manually put it onto gas. But auto is the easiest one to have it on. Temperature control just here. As we now come through to the bedroom area, we have the Thetford cassette toilet. Open to the cassette just here, and then push to flush on top. And then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you feel resistance, do make sure nobody's left it open. Level indicator on the top here, so it will illuminate to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the basin. The light switch for in here is just tucked around here. We then have the shower. Do make sure that the strap is fitted for travel. In here we have fitted an omnivent fan, so we wind the roof vent up on this here, and then we have on in the middle we have arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, variable fan speed, just by pressing. Do make sure that the roof vent is then down again for travel. Beside, we then have the majority of the light switches for the back of the caravan, and then just in here we have the television aerial. So we have the digital amplifier just here, on and off, control the boost in the middle. This particular amplifier has a built-in signal finder, so depending on the colour of the light just here, lets you know the signal strength. Up the top here we have the actual television aerial itself. This little green window here just represents the back of the aerial, and it's also letting us know that it's in the horizontal position. We can turn the tail just here and flip it on its side to the vertical for additional tuning if required. Do make sure that we're back to horizontal for travel and that the aerial is fully down and this window is facing you. When the aerial is up, secure on the collar just here, never over tighten because you can split them. The rear bed comes up on the gas struts, and on both sides we have light switches, main sockets and USB charging points.